Hi, and we're back in the series of the decade of the 2000s, and we are halfway at 2005. And I'd probably say that this is usually around the time when the decade had found its identity and people were really into the 2000s things. 2005, I can't even remember. Actually, no, I do remember. I had a lot of adventures in 2005. However, fragrances don't get released in the year, fragrances don't get made in the year that they're released. Usually they go through a whole process before that happens. So anything that was released in that year, which is 2005, was probably thought of or concocted a little bit before then. Maybe a year, maybe two, you never know. However, it certainly struck a chord with the people's sensibilities of that time, and that's why I've got a bottle of it, and certainly struck a chord with me. Now, I only have 2 fragrances from this year. However, the lack of numbers, the lack of quantity from this year is not a problem, because they more than make up for it in the quality and the difference and the uniqueness and just what they stood for. A groundbreaking shift in what we consider perfumery. And the first one I'm going to bring up is the inimitable, is that the word? Yeah, that's a word, by the way, is Lidge, L'instant de Guerlain, pour Homme, au extrême. Now, I've done a video on this. This was the first in the series of unicorns videos that I did, and I'll put a link up somewhere so that you can watch it, put it in a playlist as well so that you can binge watch all of them. Please do that, but do that after this one. And this just the citruses playing with the patchouli and the cacao, that juxtapositioning of like these heads sort of crashing against each other, and just the thickness and the syrupiness of it without actually it being cloying or sweet. It's almost like what maple syrup is, because maple syrup, yes, it's a syrup, yes, it's sweet. Real maple syrup is not that sweet. It's actually got a lot of depth in its flavor. It's got some smokiness, it's got some woody aspects to it as well. And that's what it kind of feels like here, is that the promise of sweetness is there, but it's just not present. You think it's there because of the cacao, because you can smell things that you can't taste. You can smell things that you can't taste. And just the same with this. My bottle, very old, got lots of pieces of crap floating around in it. If you can make that out. I don't know if you can make this out. I don't know what's in there, but apparently these things happen sometimes with fragrances, but it doesn't actually mean that the fragrance is off or anything like that. It still smells phenomenal. There's still top notes in it. This bottle is from 2010. So it's a bit more recent than the original 2005 release. Again, a phenomenal fragrance, a phenomenal shift in what people thought that men could potentially wear. And a fragrance that came from Guerlain that was not actually perfumed by a Guerlain person. That's a difference. And of course, I'm going to be a foregone conclusion with the next one, so I might as well tell you what it is. It's this one here. This is the original Dior Homme, and this bottle is from 2006. It's a small 10 milliliter bottle. Now, this is the original 2005 formulation of it, and I have used up a bit of it. I've decanted some of it to go and spray it as well and wear it and do tests and comparison tests against my 2011 formulations, because this got famously reformulated in 2011, and then not so famously reformulated at the end of 2014. I think December 2014 is when it got reformulated again. The formula numbers changed, and then it got reformulated again in 2016. And then, as we all know, Dior Homme became Dior Homme 2020, and then it became Dior Homme Original which I don't know what that smells like because I've never smelled it. Now, this represented a seismic shift in what we considered men's perfumery and what men could actually wear. And I think it's perfect in its timing in 2005. It's got that lipsticky sort of iris or representation of iris and that sort of makeup bag sort of feel to it as well, with a bit of cacao thrown in there for good measure and some citrus at the top that most people don't really notice, especially on their skin. Now, I do have a confession to make in that I personally prefer the 2011 formulation over the 2005, and yes, there are minor differences, but I do prefer the 2011, and I also feel that that one performs a little bit better. That could be just plain due to the fact that this is older. So this bottle here that I'm comparing it with is from 2006, and my 2011 formulations are all either from 2013 or from 2014. So they're a bit younger than this one is. So this may have degraded, but it was brand new when I opened it up a few years back when I got it. But again, a personal preference of mine, I prefer the 2011. However, in 2005, this was a groundbreaking scent, and I can see why it's still popular today. And even now, if you smell it, it still smells great. It still smells modern. It still smells like something that you would wear with a casual suit or even dress down. So that's it. Like I said, there's only 2 fragrances in this particular video that I'll be talking about, but then you can see the 2 fragrances that I did talk about are phenomenal fragrances and actually groundbreaking fragrances that somehow were both released in the same year of 2005. Join me for the next one where we do, surprise, 2006. Thanks for watching.